The fifth key is you want to stop listening to unqualified people. And this is the biggest part about our business. What amazes me so much is I have people come into my office and they say, you know what, Reco, you made over $1 million in this industry and you're doing pretty well for yourself, and I've never made more than $20,000 in a year. Could you show me how to make money in this industry? Could you show me what it takes? And I do so, and I tell them, okay, well, this is going to be a process, but it amazes me how many people leave my office and they go talk to people who make less than $20,000 a year, and they talk to me, and I made way more than $20,000 in a month, and they choose to listen to the person who's made less than $20,000 in a year. Now, if you want to make a six-figure income, why would you go get advice from people who make like $600 a week? Does that make sense? If you want to become a millionaire, then doesn't it make sense for you to go consult other millionaires? See, a lot of us get held up by other people in our life, and most of the time it's people that love us, our family, our friends. I'll tell you, when I got started with this industry, I was so excited about getting started. I mean, in fact, I called the two people I love most when I got started. Back in July 7th, 2001, I got in my car. I was so pumped. I got a business. I'm going to be rich. The first person I called was my mom. Person I love most in this world, and I said, Mom, we're going to be rich. I'm going to buy you a house. You're going to have all the time you need. You can retire. Oh, this is going to be awesome. We're not going to be in debt anymore. And my mom said, What are you talking about? Then I started telling her, about this deal where I can get in and get some people to get some people. And then they can go get some customers, they get some more customers, they get some people. Then I'm going to make all this money. And my mama said, well, that don't sound legal to me. I wouldn't get too excited about it. I got to go. I got somebody on the other line. So I was pretty demotivated by that. Then I called the next person I love most in this world. It's my granny. I called Granny up, and I started talking to her about it, and she said, boy, that's a scam. She said, I saw that on TV. They call that pyramid themes. I said, a what? She said, a pyramid theme. I said, a pyramid theme? Yeah, a pyramid theme. She said, you better run away from that. I said, Granny, I think I'm going to do it. She said, I'm going to call the police on you. She said, I'm not going to be your customer. I'm going to tell your mama not to be your customer. Now, stick to your job and stay in school. I love you, baby. Bye. At this point, I had a choice to make at that moment. I had a decision to make. It's kind of funny how God works, because that night he told me to go over to my grandparents' house where my granny was. But also at my granny's house was my pawpaw. And pawpaw never had much money. In fact, he's the richest man I know, but because of his wisdom and not his money. And he called me down in his office and he said, look, boy, I don't know much about what you're trying to get into. He said, but let me ask you a question. He said, do you want to be as financially successful as me and your grandmother, or do you want to be much more financially successful? And I said, no pun intended, but I would like to be much more financially successful. He said, well, why are you asking us for financial advice? He said, I don't know much about what you're doing. He said, but if I did, we may not be in a situation where we have no money right now. So if you're listening to somebody that's successful, you know what? Try it out and go with it. And I thank God each and every day for that response that he gave me, because that got me to a point of understanding that I am who I listen to. And you got to understand that. You are who you listen to, and you are who you hang around. See, sometimes we end up going somewhere we don't want to go because of somebody that's in the back seat. We're listening to somebody else. You're allowing somebody else to drive your car when you have the steering wheel and control of the gas. Does that make any sense? So what you got to understand that success is not achieving what somebody else wants you to achieve, but success is about discovering your purpose and achieving it within your lifespan. That's what success is about. The idea of life is to get the things you see on the inside to happen on the outside. That's the idea. You know, people tell me even today, new people come in, and they said, you know, I had a meeting at my home last week, and I was just getting back from the new home that Shanae and I are about to purchase, and it's a beautiful home. And I was telling this young lady that it came to my old house because I came back from that house doing a presentation, and she was like, yeah, well, this business is probably easy for you to build because you got all these things. She was like, look at your house now. This house is so nice, and you're going to leave this house and move into a bigger house, and it's just easy for you. You got all these nice cars. It's just so easy for you. How do I know I can get it? I say, you know what? When I got started in this business, I didn't have this nice house. I didn't have these nice cars. You know, when I got started in this business, I didn't even own a suit. I had a pair of Dockers, and they were too tight. When I used to go out and recruit people for my business, I would wear the same thing every day until I bought enough money to get something else. But I always looked professional in my tight Docker pants. See, I explained to her as we were sitting in my living room and I was showing her the presentation on this 60-inch plasma television that was above my fireplace. I said, you know what, you see that television? She said, yeah. I said, you know what, when I initially got in this industry, I had a 19-inch black and white television. And the thing about that TV, I didn't even have a TV stand. And you can buy those for like $15 at Walmart. And I had a VCR that plugged up to that 19-inch black and white TV with an adapter on the back of it. And I said, I showed the presentation to you today on this 60-inch plasma flat screen with the same intensity as I showed the presentation back in July 2001 on that black and white television that sat on the floor. See, because even when my prospects were watching that black and white TV, I had it in my head that one day that they would be watching a 60-inch plasma TV. I never knew that I would go from wearing tight Docker pants to buying $1,000 suits. I never knew that I would go from a cheap pair of loafers that I had holes coming in and I was just praying I would get the next check before the hole came so I can get a new pair of shoes to being able to buy designer shoes. I can remember trying to get to meetings and having no gas money and telling my mom that this deal is going to work. To now, the biggest problem I'm having is figuring out which car to drive to the meeting. See, when I got started in this industry, it was tough. It was real tough. But the bottom line is, I knew if I kept going, just like the other leaders that came before me, I knew that I would get everything I wanted, just like they did, because I was going to help enough people get what they wanted.